Hi and welcome to another GC Mysteries video, where this time we are talking about the murder of Clare Wood. So, Clare Wood was 36. Now, if you are from the Greater Manchester area or took notice of this, it was called Clares Law, and it was named after Clare Wood, who was murdered at the age 36 by George Appleton, who was an ex-boyfriend of Clare's. Now, Greater Manchester Police, it was monumental failings, it weren't little failings, it was big, and it cost Clare her life, but her legacy is still going on today. Now, basically Clare met George on Facebook, a known figure in the dating world now. It wasn't Facebook dating back then, but it now has introduced a Facebook dating feature. I'm not sure whether it's a stupid idea or a brave one, but you know, it's stupid, really. But Greater Manchester Police was found to have mishandled Clare's case by the Independent Police Complaints Commission, or the IPCC, which ruled that Clare had been let down by individual and systemic failures. Now, weirdly enough, Clare was happy when she met George, but Michael Brown, Clare's dad, said that his first meeting with his daughter's then boyfriend and killer is etched on his brain. And he said, "She told me she had met this lad. She sounded happy enough. They appeared out of nowhere one day at my house in Batley. I took an instant dislike to him." He goes on, "They had just come from my son's house, and my son asked me what I thought of him, and we both had the same opinion. We didn't like him and want anything to do with him." He continues, "When I found out he had done time in prison, that made me curious. Clare said it was because of some motoring offences." Now, Michael Brown, weirdly enough, was a prison guard, but continued by saying, "Because of my job, I couldn't be seen to be reporting with ex-cons, and I told her not to bring him back. She understood why I said it. I would still visit her, and I was there fairly regularly." Now, Clare ended her relationship with George Appleton in October 2008 after she found he had been texting other women, to which Clare's dad's reaction was, "I was chuffed to bits when I heard she had finished it." He said, "Clare came up to us for Christmas 2 months before she met her fate and said George Appleton was making a nuisance of himself. I told her to pack up her things and come back here. Now on the 5th of February 2009, Michael received a call from his ex-son-in-law stating that he hadn't heard from Clare. He said it turned out that my daughter had been beaten, strangled, and he had set her on fire, and they had to use a cherry picker to get her out. Now, he said it turns out him being a nuisance was actually attempted rape. He pulled in and let out numerous times by police, added Michael. My daughter died because some man couldn't understand the word no. Clare didn't get the protection that one would have expected. You don't expect to be burying your own child or going to their funeral. That's not the order of things. Michael added, if I had the information I have now back then, I would have marched her straight home. The last moments of my daughter's life were her kicking and screaming, trying to get away from George Appleton. Sadly enough, she did die, but as her dad stated, he didn't just kill her, he burned her. And that is where Clares Law came. It's actually named for Clare Wood, although in law it can't be called that, otherwise it would just be, the legal books would just be full of names rather than the actual law and what it's designed for. So the Clares Law actually became known officially as a domestic violence disclosure scheme or similar, and it designates several ways for police officers to disclose a person's history of abusive behaviour to those who be at risk from such behaviour. It is intended to reduce intimate partner violence. And then it says Clares Law is named for Clare Wood, a woman murdered in England by a former domestic partner who police knew to be dangerous. Now, in this video you will see pictures of George Appleton, and if I could basically say what I wanted and not risk the video being removed from YouTube, I would, but there is no way to do that. Now, George Appleton, after Clare's murder, there was a massive manhunt for George Appleton, as you would expect for someone who's just murdered and burnt their ex-girlfriend, basically because she told him to go away, didn't want nothing to do with him anymore, and that's me putting it politely. But the manhunt for George Appleton ended in the fact that he was found hung in a derelict pub, and so he could never be brought up for the crimes that he had committed. Now, I am going to read a letter that Clare wrote before her death. It was unsent, but it reads, "There is no easy way to say this, but I don't want to be with you. Too much has happened. I am so unhappy. I am at the stage where I don't even like you touching me, and that feeling is never going to go. You still scare me, and I can't be with someone I am frightened of. Don't contact me. That's the way it needs to be. I need to get on with my life. If you have any feeling for me, you will let me do this. Don't use this as an excuse to go off the rails. Bear in mind that you were lucky enough not to go to prison again, and I did give you a chance, and I had to do this by letter because you just won't listen to me at all. I have told you before how I feel, and you have chosen to ignore it, hoping it will go away. It hasn't. Each day I feel worse. I have to consider my daughter also, and after all you've done, I can't have you back. It's not fair on her, and she knows I would never be happy with you. She can never trust you either. Take care. I mean it, Claire." That was actually found after her death, unsent. But I would go as far to say that that is Claire speaking from the grave. Because that is Claire, she wrote it. But the basic thing is there's just nothing to help women who have bad partners. But if you want to learn more about Clare, you can by searching Clare Wood without the I, or Clares Law without the I also. Thank you for watching this GC Mysteries video. If you liked it, please like, subscribe and click the notification bell. If you can, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/GC Mysteries. See us on Facebook and Twitter, GC Mysteries, and bye bye for now.